tracker.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is the best one that has come up. Let me share here, huh? 1 second. I got my nutrition coach certificate, so this was a part of that. Okay, I think it's here. Okay, one moment. Okay. Okay, let me share it here. Oh, no. So I just drag and drop, I guess. Downloads. Okay, yeah. Oh, did not come through. 1 second. Okay, I just shared it here as well. Okay. So I'm all excited today to share this. It took me a lot of time to make this tracker. I literally started getting migraines making this, but I believe this is so. Here is something I will share with you. So in your daily diet, of course, the second half we will go into the Ayurvedic balance, but I found the modern balance as well as the Ayurvedic balance. If you put both of those together, uh, because there are so many things which you will get confused with. And one thing I got completely confused with was the concept of calories. Okay. And that really uh, like every time you do something it would get confusing, like I'm eating this much calories, what am I eating? So here's something that you need to understand. Okay, now understand this very careful. I'll go through the micronutrients, the presentation I just showed you. So in your daily routine, there is something called essential proteins. Means you will not get them if you don't eat them. You will not get it if you don't eat it. So you will be deficient. Okay. So that is called essential proteins. And that's the presentation I made. And then we will go to the tracker. So if you do not eat that stuff, you will not get those proteins. It has to be supplemented with diet, and that's why it's called essential proteins. Now, some of the things your body can produce, okay? Some of the things which you eat, then your body transforms it, okay? For example, hemoglobin. So, hemoglobin, there are many foods which your body can convert into hemoglobin. There are many foods which your body can convert into different uh, nourishing things which your body needs to function. But there are some things which your body cannot synthesize. And that's why it's called essential proteins. Okay. And there are about 7 to 8 essential proteins. And essential vitamins, means your body cannot produce them. You need to supplement them with your diet. So if you don't eat, you won't get it. So basically, what happens is, what I found was, over a course of a week, you need to supplement, you need to eat, okay, those required foods, especially if you are a vegetarian. Okay, a vegetarian has more, unfortunately, for vegetarian has more deficiencies than a one who eats meat. That's a reality. For example, there is, for vegetarian sources of vitamin D, it's ghee, milk, sunlight. Uh, for those who eat meat, it's easy. You get, because animals already absorb. When you eat the meat, you also get directly, because it has already digested those, um, in its muscle. When you eat the muscle, you actually directly absorb it. But for a vegetarian, it's very not easy to get, because you have to eat it and digest it. So milk, ghee are very good sources, plus sunlight. But it's not easy to so that's why you need to supplement. Same thing I told about B12. Now, if you don't take these essential proteins and essential fats, then your body becomes depleted. So many functions start to become slower. So you will notice it is random. Now, interestingly, I was discussing all of your results, most of your results of both the groups with my professor this week. And one thing I noticed was, many people, many of you I had interviews with, and I saw many changes. Some of your faces had improved a lot of changes, lot of improvements. It was so happy to see. So one of the things you notice is your A1C comes down, but your cholesterol is still high. Or your cholesterol is come down and A1C is high. So these are one of the two things. It's insulin resistance. So either your A1C goes up, or cholesterol goes up, or blood pressure goes up, or thyroid becomes imbalanced. These four things stem from one root cause, insulin resistance. So basically what's happening is insulin resistance. Okay. So insulin resistance, and now this insulin resistance is causing lack of nutrition within the body. So your body needs, so when we say low iron, your body needs iron to transport oxygen. Low hemoglobin, you need hemoglobin to transfer energy, right? So when they say low in something, that means your body is lacking it. Without it, a certain function will not be there, right? So you need to supplement it in your diet. So your diet should be a mix of protein and fat. So your focus should be protein and fat. Carbohydrate, insulin resistance and cholesterol, yeah. And carbohydrate should be as you physically work, right? Now, I when I was finishing the final exam for the uh, certified nutritionist, okay, so you have to coach, like you are given a scenario where you have to coach. I'm happy to share my certificate here. Certified nutritional coach by National Academy of Sports Medicine, okay. So basically, so I got this. So basically, in the final exam, you are given a scenario where you have to work with a not one but three scenarios where you're working with one sports star, then somebody who is overweight, somebody who is underweight. Okay. So uh, what you have to do is assess your uh, activity. So basically, those who train hard, those who train very hard, you need uh, plenty of carbohydrates. Those who exercise hard, those who sit on chair all day, you don't need so much carb. Okay, understand this much. If you understand this much, half your problem is solved. Okay, our diet is primarily carbohydrates, right? Can can everyone vouch for this? You can see, right?
Yep.
How much is it? Right? So we see. I showed you that plate last week, right? A few weeks ago. But if you really focus on it, your protein needs are more. So no matter what you do, your protein needs are there. So body, even if you don't work, even for your muscles to be lazy, right? You need some protein. But when you work, you need a mix of carbs and protein. Okay? You need a mix of carbs and protein. Mix of carbs, protein, and fats. So basically, it depends on your body weight. Okay? So it's like if you are, it's a general calculation. We'll go into the Excel sheet later today. So if you are an athlete, so then you need kind of 4 grams per kilo of body weight. 4 grams, 4 to 7 grams. If you are medium athlete, it's like 3 grams, 3 to 6 grams of body weight per per kilo of body weight. If you are sedentary, then it's like 2 grams. Okay. So similarly, it's carbohydrates is about 3 into 3 and protein is about 1 gram per kilo of body weight. Okay. So protein you need. And as you train harder, your protein should be double. Okay. Carb also increases. So basically the whole calculation, the formula was based on how much you train, 30 minutes, 1 hour, how much activity you do in a day. Okay, that's the next thing I'm going to add to the formula. But today I'm going to give you the basic formula which you can apply across your diet. Okay, so when you calculate this, you will be able to see how much you are actually overeating. And that's our tendency. When you don't measure something, I realize that. Like when I say measure your weight, fasting sugar, we neglect it. But what happens after some time, you lose track. Might be I might feel this way, right? Yeah. So so basically, uh, it's about 5 to 6 grams of per body weight, hmm, per kilo of body weight. If you are a heavy exercise person. If you are a medium exercise person, it's half that. If you are a sedentary person, then low carbs. Okay. You have a question, Sonia ji?
Yes, yes. Is it the desired weight or the current weight?
Current weight.
Okay. So
How is
the
it
five to
desired
six
weight?
grams, not the
That doesn't
desired
exist.
goal weight.
No,
Yeah,
no,
the
no.
one that doesn't exist yet.
No. Your current body weight.
Okay, okay.
So now the thing is, you convert everything into calories also. So when you eat, you know if you are overeating. And the weight loss formula was simple. The weight loss formula is calories in, calories out. Okay. So I consume, for an athlete, it's about 2,800 calories. Okay. For per day, means all your three meals put together, if you calculate your calories, it should be about 2,800 calories for an athlete. For a normal sedentary person, it's 2,000. If you are a teen, if you are growing up, it's 2,400. So if you look at it, the carb intake is the most variable factor. So don't eat too much carb until you are actually going to attempt to digest it. Because what happens if you don't digest it? Can anybody say what happens if you don't digest it? What
I
happens if you don't
think
digest
it
it?
converts into sugar,
Stores as fat.
fat.
It becomes belly fat. Okay. Yesterday we went to the Las Vegas trip. We bought monorail tickets. Yes, visceral fat, sugar. Yes, we went to, and we were sitting at the monorail station, and you can see people walking with beer belly, pot belly. They say it's actually like a pot, flower pot. It's actually like a pot, and that reminds me that's very scary. That's really very scary. I mean, like, I can't imagine how can somebody live peacefully with such a big belly and a disaster wedding. Your big belly drags down your heart muscles. Your big belly drags down as your belly becomes, as your downward pressure increases, it pulls on your heart muscles. Your heart has to struggle so much. That's why there is a massive heart attack. Your belly becomes bigger and bigger, and then your heart muscles are getting pulled down, are getting stressed. Your circulation is not there. Your belly, as the fat stays there for a long time, after some time the fat becomes numb, your circulation stops. So we were watching, I was like, as people were passing by, there's a lot of young people, a lot of like lean people, good looking, good, like physically, wow, like tall. Vegas, you get like, it felt like, I was thinking, oh, is it a holiday? Yeah, it was a holiday, and it was crazy, especially if you go to the Bellagio. Like they have the spring festival going on in Bellagio, with the decoration is incredible. But we could hardly walk. It was so many people. But you could find variety just looking at the body type, right? Just looking at the way they walk. But as middle-aged people, large body, very difficult to get rid of the belly fat. Okay. So then what I saw was, if you actually balance the meal, and that's where the problem comes, is we don't balance, we don't calculate, we just like, okay, I think I might be okay with this, right? It takes a little bit of practice, but then it begins to fall in place. Okay. So insulin resistance and cholesterol, right? So basically what happens is, your it's your liver which processes everything. In fact, the liver also gives the red blood cells its red color. That's why in the liver in Ayurveda it's called as Ranjaka Pitta. Okay, Ranjaka Pitta. So it gives its red color, the Pitta. Now what happens when liver gets overheated is it cannot function properly. So what are the things it can overheat with? One is alcohol. But there is also something called as non-alcoholic fatty liver. You know what is it caused by? Excess sugars and carbohydrate. Because when there is too much sugar for your liver to process, your liver can't handle. Now, one thing very important, that is why portion control is important. One thing very, very important is something called as portion control. Now, what happens is you can see even in a city, okay, even in a city, when there is heavy rains, and if 1 day worth of rain comes in 1 hour, can the city drainage handle it? No, it cannot handle it. It's overwhelmed. So that causes a flood. So when you add, so for example, when you eat something consistently bad, 1 day, one time, one festival, okay, it can push back your liver, but you also need to compensate. But then I eat sweets every day, your liver is lagging. So all this, it keeps storing, I'll use it later. Just like how you behave, your organs are also intelligent. Every cell in your body is intelligent. It works just like you. Your organs work just like you. The way you work. If I have excess of something, so if I have to fold clothes, right? It's a certain limit, certain time I can do it. But if it's like a month worth of clothes, I'm just throwing in an example, okay? And I have to do it in an hour or two, that's it. I'm stuck. I can't do it. Right? I can't do it. I After some time I give up. I keep those clothes for later. In fact, there was one lady I was speaking to, and she told me she she does it like once in a month. There she just throws the clothes in a pile and they pick it up every day, whichever they need. It's so difficult. So your liver sets aside what it cannot process, the non-alcoholic fatty liver. So when there is so much sugar, it heats up, it keeps heating up. Okay, it keeps heating up, and then what happens, your liver cannot function or it slows down. So fatty means it slows down. Just imagine a fat person, he cannot be very fast. So liver becomes fat, it slows down. So basically you are slowing down. So what is supposed to take 2 hours to digest, you are taking 4 hours to digest. It's so dangerous. Hmm? So your whole body function, now that not just metabolic function, but also mental cognizance is also affected. Okay, let me go to, so now the the essential proteins you can get with basically, believe it or not, some rice is also beneficial, but in limited quantity. Quinoa, very good, right? For vegetarians, there are actually lot of good sources of protein. Almonds, nuts, all the other nuts. Then mung is the best. Sunflower seeds. These are all very good source of proteins. But you have to take them regularly. That's the thing. We do it some days and then chickpeas, sprouts. These are all very good. All right. Now let's go to now. Okay. Before that, so your proteins and there is essential fats. Okay. Now those who go on vegan diet, they lack fats, good fats. Oils are okay fats. Okay, oils are okay fats, but real fat comes from milk and butter, and of course ghee. Okay, those are real good fats. Okay, but that depends on the quality. Other day I was speaking to someone, so we get paneer, right? 99% of the paneer in India is fake. And I don't know how many of these Indian stores here import it from India. But if anything is imported from India, 90 to 99%. See, in India, there were 20 crore people and 120 crore cows when the British came. Okay. Then the British systematically slaughtered the cows. They started the first slaughterhouse. Even the Islamic invasion could not destroy as many cattle as the British did. So they kind of speeded it up with the industrial machinery. Then what happened is today India has 140 crore people and 20 crore cows. And 20 crore cows, you hardly have like milking, you can say half, 10 crore cows. That's the actual number of cattle that's there. 10 crore to about 8 crore milking cows, 8 to 9. And imagine the ratio is now 1 is to 14. Now, how can you have milk, ghee, paneer for so many people? Whereas you go any dhaba, any store, there is paneer. Now, that's the problem. Everywhere there is paneer. How is that even possible? Here, at least you have milk. I mean, it's milk, it's not detergent powder. In fact, in a few days ago, they caught a uh, company in Gujarat in India, which already sold 3 lakh kilos of fake paneer. 3 lakh kilos. Can you imagine the scale? And somebody is mass importing from India if they are actually 3 lakh kilos. And the sweets, forget it. The sweets, the mawa, you can just go to YouTube and say fake milk and fake paneer, India. You will see them. They found kilos and kilos of palm oil. They found kilos and kilos of, you know, detergent powder to make paneer. So the problem is, it's not about getting here, at least the milk is milk. Okay. In the US, there's no fake milk, at least. But in India, you will not believe the amount of fake milk that is there or diluted milk that is there. So that is why the problem is the foods are there, but because they are fake, there is no nourishment. So that is why you need to stick to genuine foods. That's my point. Okay. So at least grains, nuts, seeds, these they are all genuine. You can't make artificial kidney beans or chickpeas or something like that. That's why people are preferring to go vegan and stuff, but we need to find alternatives. So here we are lucky actually. So the ones, the ghee, everything that we make, we get the cultured cream. It's so good quality. So that's one thing we are lucky here, is that the quality standards are very high in the US. Okay. Means they label everything, and it is what the label says, at least most of the time. Now, going back to, so you need carb, protein, and fat. Remember this: carb, protein, fat. So this is what is called as macronutrients. Now, what are micronutrients? So micronutrients are the vitamins and minerals. So they are called micronutrients. Means you don't need them in large quantity, but you need them in certain quantity. For example, selenium. You need very little selenium. There was one athlete, basketball player, forget his name. So he used to practice a lot, over practice, over sweat. So that is why nothing should be done over, even if you are an athlete. So he had a heart attack at the age of 26 or something, very young. And when they tried to study how did he get a heart attack at such a young age, there was one trace mineral that he was lacking. Can anybody share? Can anybody, would anybody like to guess which mineral it was? Selenium, right? It was selenium. And you know which nut gives you the selenium very easily?
Brazilian nut.
Yes.
Brazilian nuts. Yeah, right? It is the Brazil nuts. So if you just add one per week, you will not get a heart attack. But none of us are athletes who sweat it out so much, so it won't affect us so much. But even otherwise, okay. Now, so the macronutrients are carbohydrates, protein, and fat. Okay. Now, carbohydrates are supposed to be the major portion, 50 to 60% of your diet. Sorry, 40 to 30, 40 to 60%, but 40. But if you are an athlete, it's 60. Okay. I was surprised that that athlete needs more carbohydrate. Okay, because carbohydrate eventually converts into the sugar you will need to for endurance. Okay, you will need it. Post exercise you will need protein. That's how it works. So you need to understand how, when to consume what. That's the game. And then you need fat along with both, because fats help absorb the vitamins. Okay, there is something called fat soluble vitamins, and there is water soluble. Okay, so fat soluble vitamins and water soluble. Now, what are water soluble? Okay, so we'll start with that. Mm, okay, that's what I'm going to share right now. Uh, okay, let me share this. Here we go. Okay, so this is when you, so basically, these are the water soluble, means you will need them every day. Now, this is all tied to your carb and protein. This is all tied to, at one point, I was thinking that we don't need grains. But then I realized when you do yoga, when you do exercise, and especially for certain metabolic functions, you do need grains. Because vitamin B1 is very important, because it helps in nerve function, critical in metabolism of sugar and amino acids. So it assists the protein breakdown. So vitamin B1 is very important. So it's called thiamine, and the main source is grains. So that's why you will need some amount of grain, rice, quinoa, okay, all these, flax seeds, beans, milk. But the ones you get from grain, so that is why they are water soluble, means they will not stay very long, may stay 2 days. And they benefit glucose metabolism and neuropathy. So your nerve rebuilding also depends on vitamin B1. I was surprised. Wow. So you can't cut off grains. I lived grain free for 1 year and I did notice some weakness. So I really thought you don't need them, but you need them. But the thing is balance. So that's how it is. You can't live a grain free diet. If you go on grain free diet, after some time you'll notice your muscles becoming loose, muscles becoming weaker, and that's what happened. Eventually I did come back to eating some form of carb. Now again, that's the thing, you need to find the balance. If you are not an athlete, 40% of your plate should be carb. If you are an athlete, 50 to 60%. So that's how it works. So portion control. Vitamin B2, riboflavin. Okay. So this is, you see the benefit, oxidative stress, thyroid enzymes. So you need riboflavin. Okay, critical in metabolism of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. Okay, grains, tofu, milk, fish, mushrooms, spinach, almonds. Okay, so tofu, I wouldn't consume a lot, but certain little amount of tofu is fine. Mushrooms, if you are lacking B2, mushrooms are the best. If you look at bread, if you look at bread, you will find thiamine, riboflavin. When I was Bonnie James, LeBron's son, was 18 and had heart attack. Wow. Okay. So if you look at the bread, you have thiamine, riboflavin. I was thinking, what is all this riboflavin? Why do you need it in bread? Because if you make bread at home, you don't add thiamine, riboflavin. What is this? And then I realized it is this. It is B1, B2, B3, B4, because The grain, the wheat is supposed to have this, but when the bread is cooked or once the bread is made in 24 hours, listen to this carefully, in 24 hours, the bread loses all its nutrition. In 24 hours, the bread in the supermarket loses all its nutrition. So they sat down and they thought, how, if somebody finds out, socially, if people come to know. So the bread companies sat down, the FDA commissioner sat down, and everyone was like, hmm, how can we sell this to the people and still say it has some nutrition? Because in 24 hours, once you cook, like in Ayurveda, it says the prana is gone, the nutrition is gone, it has nothing. It is just like, all the nutrition is non digestible. That's why always eat cooked fresh. So they thought and they said, okay, let's fortify it. Let's add riboflavin, niacin. They add 51 different things. The problem? It cannot digest. That's why we are food surplus today, but with the most non-nutritious foods. So that's why they say just by changing from eating ready-made foods to well-cooked homemade foods, you make 50% of difference right there. Right there. Just that one change. Okay. And I was surprised that they can sell bread like this in 50 different things. And the bread in Europe is different. It's not like this. Like in India, I remember in Bangalore, we had that Iyengar bakery. And Iyengar bakery, people, they used to make the bread and it used to come out and people are standing in line, the fresh bread. So fresh bread. But the problem here is that there is no concept of fresh. It has to sit there for at least 24 hours. Once it passes, it's over. Okay. Plus so many additives. You can't digest it as it is and imagine so many. So that's why half the population is pre-diabetic. There should be something within the food system and voila, there it is. Hmm? So that's how it goes. Interesting, isn't it? Now, so that's why you will find that the bread has B1, B2, all this stuff, and it doesn't really work. Now you need it for your thyroid. Those who have thyroid issues, B2, B2, B2. Okay, B2 and B12. Next one. Niacin. Now you see niacin, B3, vitamin B3 is so important because you need it for ATP production. So ATP production, so ATP is the one that gives you energy in flight or fight mode. So when you want to run, your body generates ATP. It gives you 10 seconds of energy, believe it or not. And it takes like an hour to recover. So suppose you run 100 meters. They run so fast. Then they need 1 hour to recover. That's ATP. ATP assists you that 10 seconds. ATP production is so critical for the body, critical for metabolism of proteins. Okay. Can we make bread at home and consume? Of course, that's what I am trying to tell you. That was the essence of what I was trying to tell you. You make it home, it's different, right? You're 50% better. I'm not saying everything is fully dead, what comes from outside, but basically, and what about gluten? Yeah, that's gluten definitely. If you can get wheat, if you can get a better variety of wheat, European wheat, they get sprouted wheat and stuff. Then it's better. So you have rye, but you have to barley, wheat, and rye. All three have gluten. Now, gluten is a protein. Now, the problem is because they are so concentrated, and see, everything digests in pairs. I was surprised to find when I was doing the calculations in food combinations, okay, in the nutrition coach. So then you have food combinations. I was surprised to find a very good combination is actually rice and beans. It's actually a very good combination because see, if you look at the hardworking Mexican people, they are physically very hardworking, and what do they have is rice and beans. And I was surprised to find that rice and beans, rice has leucine, protein, plus it has carbs. Now, carbs you need. I already spoke about why you need, if you are working out, you need high amount of carbs. Now, when you are a diabetic, you need to adjust the portion. Now, and the other proteins are in the beans. So when you combine leucine, you don't have in the beans. They have the other proteins that you need. And that, when you put it together, the combination, it gives you the proteins you need. I was surprised. So basically, now the thing is, rice is not as much GMO, but it is processed. So the problem in today's rice is the carb content is high, the protein is a bit low. What happened with wheat is the I showed this, I don't remember last week or a week before last. I already showed that when they remove the bran, the carb content goes high. So when you actually have the bran, then the protein, it will not affect you so much. The problem why there is gluten allergy, and in fact they found another reason is that if you look at in the course itself, what I found was most of the wheat in America is Roundup ready. Means it is made with heavy pesticides, heavy, very heavy. So in fact, it is not the gluten that actually causes the allergies. It's actually the pesticide, the amount of pesticide. Okay. The amount of pesticide in the wheat. So you take European wheat, it doesn't give you as much of a problem. Okay, European wheat doesn't give you much of that problem because the amount of pesticide is not, the Monsanto is not there. Okay, the Roundup Ready, it is so heavy because it's a guaranteed crop. They don't take any chance. And that is found to be, there was a case in Las Vegas where one lady ate peanuts and she got heavy reaction. And then the paramedics came late and then they gave her, by the time they came, she already had anaphylactic shock. I was like, I never saw in India somebody eating peanuts and getting an anaphylactic shock. I mean, ye hai kya, what's there in these peanuts? So then when I researched, what I found was astounding. Now, peanuts grow, we call it groundnuts, right? It grows just below the ground. And and doesn't happen in India, but happens in America. Peanuts are grown as a rotation crop where you grow wheat. So whatever Roundup Ready chemical goes into the ground is absorbed by Mr. Peanut. And that is why you have peanut allergy only in America. I was shocked when I found out. That lady got 1.5 million. The reason why I researched was the headline was 1.5 million. I mean, like you eat peanuts, it's not good. It's not good that you get a shock, but she got 1.5 million. I think she's disabled or something like that right now. That's very sad. I mean, what's the point in 1.5 million if you're disabled? So that's the reason you have peanut allergy and you don't have peanut allergy in the rest of the world, only in America. So that roundup, so that is the common factor between peanut and wheat. So now you see, it's not really the gluten itself. It is the amount of heavy pesticide, the way it is grown, because it directly absorbs into the crop. What about the atta we buy in the Indian store? Same story. Same story. And by the way, when I was little, my dad used to take wheat to the nearest mill and they used to make fresh wheat. And we used to use that fresh wheat. Once you grind it, believe it or not, it loses its energy. Now, if bread loses in 24 hours, wheat loses it in 5 days, 5 to 7 days. It's gone. The energy is gone. Means those particles oxidate. They don't stay fresh forever, they oxidate. There is something still left, but it doesn't have the full energy. Okay. So it's very important that as much fresh, as many good organic sources. Although the coaching manual pretty much said that organic is better, but it doesn't mean that conventional is not good. But I would say European wheat is better compared to American wheat. That's what I would say because of the pesticide. Okay. Now, the ATP function is very important, niacin. You will find this on the bread label as well. So, you see many meat sources are there. Many take frozen rotis, right? See, ultimately we say something which is convenient. We use something which is convenient, right? But the thing is, it's not ideal. It is something which has, it doesn't mean everything loses all its energy. No, there is, but it's already reduced. That's all I'm saying. Hmm? This is crazy important info. Yes, it took me a lot of research to get to this. Okay. And I wanted to combine both Ayurveda and like a big good diet coaching to get the best results. Okay. So you guys are getting that diet, and next part when we do the Ayurveda, you will see your results maximize. So, so you see here, avocado, mushrooms. Okay, I was not a fan of mushrooms, but then I found it to be very, when you cannot digest grains as much, mushrooms are good. Peanuts, but peanuts again, not those peanuts. You can buy some Indian peanuts or something. Okay. If you don't have the allergy, peanuts are okay. But then again, be warned, it's already, that's the thing. You have to detox. So the only other thing that you can do is if this is the food that is available and if you're not growing your own food, you got to detox. And this is very important for lipid profile because your fats are digested by B3. B5, there's nothing called B4. So B5, fat and carb metabolism. Okay. So fat and carb metabolism. Uh, so basically critical in metabolism of proteins, carbohydrates and fats. It also plays a fundamental role in the production of cholesterol and fatty acids. You can see it directly affects your liver. So again, grains, milk, seeds, sweet potatoes, lentils. So you need to have a lot of seeds, pumpkin seeds, almonds, pecans, there's a lot of nuts and seeds you need. Okay, benefit insulin resistance. So basically your grains help, but again, the quality of the grains, the quantity, the timing, all these things matter, and that's what takes time. The groundnut oil sold in America will be very harmful, of course. And I don't recommend groundnut oil. And certain foods don't go with other food, but nowadays people make food with all kinds of combinations. That's why Rupa Goswami says don't make khichdi with too many vegetables, one or two vegetables, right? When you add too many things, they interact with one another and they don't give the best results. So you see how important these are, and these are water soluble. What I'm talking is water soluble, okay? Water, not fat soluble. We haven't gotten to the fat soluble yet. These are all water soluble, okay? Interesting, right? And B6, okay? Now, that's why you need potatoes once or twice a week. Now, the problem is it raises glucose, but that's why you need exercise. You need to digest this carb. Okay. So glycogen breakdown, can you imagine? It breaks down glycogen, involved in the breakdown of glycogen, glucose products, neurotransmitters. So B6. Pistachios, eat a lot of pistachios. They don't spike sugar at all. Once in a while, bananas. Okay. You need maybe or twice a week. You can have potatoes also. Once or twice a week is fine if you are exercising. Whey, not paneer. If you're making it at home, it's fine. Milk. Milk you cannot digest. That's the problem. So grains. I mean, that's why the diet is, these are wide variety of things that are given what you like, what you can digest, what you can make. So then choose one and get the source. That's it. Some people like can digest potatoes if you are pre-diabetic. Yeah, potatoes twice a week, okay, but not too much. Pistachios, very good. That's the best. Milk once in a while, yeah. Whey, grains every day. But which ones? You need to figure out. I'll show you in the tracker when we do it. So we are coming to that point. Folate. Okay, so these are water soluble. So DNA synthesis. So DNA, your DNA needs to improve, right? So you need folate. So that's why they give it. So grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, soy. But soy is not quality protein. It's not complete protein. It's no folate also your heart protection. So that's where you need grains. Legumes, lot of beans. Okay. Nuts, seeds, soy. So plenty of sources. So folate you can get from many places. Are critical for production of red and white blood cells. Folate. So you need a mix of legumes, nuts, seeds, grains, soy. And finally, biotin for the hair. Right? Biotin. My biotin shampoo. Carb and fat metabolism. So nut seeds, milk, yeast. Uh, so one of the things I noticed, so this was from some holistic. So they eat animal liver, which directly gives them replenish the liver. Of course, vegetarians don't eat, but I was surprised. So your liver plays a crucial role. So you see, liver is, so that's why nuts, seeds in the morning, milk. So milk again, milk you can take in several forms. So you need to just think of how you can. Even almond milk is also very beneficial, right? But you have to make it. I mean, the commercial almond milk, if it's one of our team members itself, I was interviewing, and he said, "I get almond milk from Costco." I said, "Get the box. How many ingredients?" It was 7 ingredients. I mean, almond milk is almond. That's it. How come you have 7 ingredients? Huh? So that was the interesting thing. Is nutritional yeast good for us? Of course, it's good. Nutritional yeast, I was very much against in the beginning, but then I realized it's good for your hair. Nutritional yeast is good for biotin. It's good for hair. In fact, they sell nutritional yeast. for hair. B12, right, the big one. RBC plus nerve involved in many different metabolic processes, including DNA synthesis, red blood cell, and maintaining neurological function. It's mostly non-vegetarian sources and dairy. Okay, if you're a vegetarian, eat plenty of cheese, plenty of yogurt, plenty of milk. If you're lacking B12, yogurt, not the sugary yogurt, but yogurt. Yogurt is good, milk is good, cheese is good. So if you are B12 deficient, have plenty of these. Mm. Yogurt is good. It's good protein, and you see it's B12. Neuropathy, vitamin C. This is also water soluble. This is fruits, yeah, mostly fruits, green tomatoes. So you need plenty of fruits, orange, citrus fruits, bell peppers. Okay. And then choline. This is also a water soluble. Now you are changing how your genes are expressed, methyl groups to your DNA. So sources, mushrooms, cauliflower, green. So green vegetables, so colored vegetables. So somewhere it is. But unfortunately, I saw in India, they actually, for green vegetables, they add green color. So the more colored they are better, but not artificial dyes. So if you find natural colors, the more they have colors, the choline comes from that color. It's good. So that's why mushroom, which absorbs a lot of sunlight, many mushrooms do absorb sunlight, but if they can be grown without sunlight as well. Cauliflower, they're all good. Okay, so in fat metabolism. So that's about the water soluble vitamins that are there. We can make a whole huge presentation on minerals as well, fat soluble vitamins as well. So I can quickly take you through the fat soluble vitamins and then we'll go to the chart. I'm going a bit over time. I hope this is okay. If we are getting late, I'll just get straight to the tracker. So how many are okay with me sharing? If anybody is getting late, please text, please message. I will just go to the tracker. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't think it would take so much time, but this is the topic I love. So I love just keep talking about it. Okay. Soy milk, soy milk, soy milk. Soy milk has not so many. It has certain B vitamins, but in the long run, soy milk doesn't absorb as well. You can not, almond milk would be the best. Milk is the best if you can digest. Otherwise, almond milk is the best. Soy milk would be like, soy milk absorption rate or energy rate is 50%. So only 50%. We'll look at the recording. Okay. All right. So Prabhu, so we'll catch you. Okay. So I'll quickly take you through this and then we'll go to the tracker. Okay. So so fat soluble. So fat soluble are ADEK. Okay. Absorbed with dietary fats. So that's why you need fats in your diet. Essential for vision, immunity, bones, and blood clotting. Okay. So vitamin A, vision, night vision, immune support, skin health. Carrot, sweet potato, spinach, kale, dairy. Okay, so these are all fat soluble. Means you need to have these plus fat. So dairy has the highest fat. Vitamin D, right? Sunlight exposure, fortified milk, ghee. So in general, if you see coaching manuals, they don't emphasize ghee, but ghee is the best. calcium absorption, bone health. If not, take vitamin D supplements. I already spoke about it few weeks ago. Vitamin E, tocopherol, antioxidant production, almonds, spinach, healthy fats. You see, vitamin K, blood clotting. Other day I had a small injury and the blood clotting was very good. So I thought, okay, I have good vitamin K. Bone metabolism, leafy greens, broccoli, fermented foods. So avoid deficiencies and excess. Excess is also not good. Combined with healthy fats like ghee, right? So you see, okay. All right, wonderful. Now let's go to the tracker. Okay, here we go. So the way I have designed this is, I thought let me put everything here. So I'm giving you an example. So let's say today, okay, I eat breakfast and so now it's lunchtime. So let's eat lunch. So this is the data. So I am eating, let's say for lunch, uh, kidney beans, sprouted. Okay, I'm just taking one food. So it immediately fills up the and quantity. So quantity I say 40 grams. Okay. Now you see immediately it shows how many calories it is, how much carb is there, how much protein is there, how much fat is there, fibers, sugar, sodium, calcium, iron, potassium, magnesium, and vitamin A, B's. It fills up everything. So it took me a lot of time to design this because if you look at, say, again, I add today for lunch, okay, and then I add Swiss cheese, okay, and I add 50 grams of Swiss cheese. Immediately you will see how many calories it is. See, fat has the highest amount of calories, okay, and you can see all the nutrients that it has. So if you balance it out, so if you add up all the calories, that's your calories for the day. So you should not exceed, if you're not exercising, you should not exceed more than 2000. If you are exercising 30 minutes, then 2500 calories, right? So then you can, I've already shared this, so you can try it out. You may not have the time to do it every day, but at least we can try it out. Okay, choose. Okay, say I'm having, so I have to update this. I'll update this with grains. Say, now this has some of the other foods. I think when I ran the script, it did not update the grain. Okay, just say I add Napa cabbage, okay, raw, and I use grams of cabbage immediately. You see, it's very low in calories. Okay, so you see, vegetables are low in calories, means they are easy to digest. Whereas if you see cheese, milk, they are very high in calories. Okay, so let's say I go to pre-workout. Okay, and I go to whole milk. Okay, and then I drink 80 grams. So you see, the calories will be very high. Okay, the only thing I think in the data, it did not update the grains, so I have to just add the grains. So then I'll reshare it here, but you can see this is how it works. So you can try it out. So you immediately see which food has what, and it takes 1 week of practice. If you actually do, then you can have a overall idea of the calories. Okay, so if I say I am using, so vegetables have very low this thing. Say I am using tofu. Okay, silken tofu. and I'm using 100 grams. So usually let's say 200 grams. 86 calories. Okay, carbs. It has hardly any carbs. So it is mostly protein and fat. So you see, tofu is mostly protein and fat. So you understand each one. Okay, I'll immediately do this. By the end of today, I'll update the grains and then you can calculate. I want all of you to use it at least tomorrow, and then you use it for a few days. You will know what you ate at least at night. You to take a stock of what you ate. You just have a, this is not exact calculation, but at least it's very close. Okay, this is a very scientific tracker. So if you look at it, you can put in your daily logs how many you ate. There are many apps which do this also, but I wanted to come up with something where you can see everything. Excel sheet is not easy, app is very easy. I will try to share some apps as well which you can use, which where you input the food and you get all this. But if you need to know, so there is something called if you want to look up, so this is how you use it. All grains need to be weighed. Yes, that's why you need a small kitchen weight. Okay, very important. You need to have a kitchen weight. The problem is we just put half cup, 1 cup, we don't weigh it. But once you know how much is half cup, how much is 1 cup, you will immediately know it. Okay, so weigh it. Without weighing, see, everything needs to be measured. Everything needs to be measured. If you don't measure, then you will not go anywhere. Right? If we don't measure, we are not aware whether we are overeating or undereating. So you have to measure. Like even A1C, right? I know it's low, I feel better, but I need to measure it to confirm. So measuring is literally trying to confirm. Otherwise, we are like, I think I did it. So that's always doubtful. You need evidence. So evidence is measuring. So always keep a small kitchen weight. It may be difficult in the beginning, right? You keep a small weighing thing, you weigh, immediately you are like, okay. Or when you take a box, like a chickpea box, right? Ready made, it comes. So chickpea, how many grams is it? You see the label, then that's it. Okay, I ate this much. So then if you are into a program, you are like, okay, I got to measure, then you will get the results, because then the output is also some numbers. So if the input is numbers, output is also numbers, and this works. If the calories in is calories out, so I'm burning 2000 calories. That we will look at next week, all the activities. There is so much to cover, so much I want to talk about, but it's not. So which activity you lose how much, which activity you gain how much. So all that activities we will talk, and then we can have the final calculation. But at least play around with this. I will try to update the grains in the database, and then you will see that it will become so easy kind of to see how it works. Whether you are overeating or undereating. Yes, somebody had raised
Yeah. Hare Krishna,
uh,
Prabhu. Prabhu,
uh,
I had one organic apple today morning. I just weighed it and added it. And it said almost 18 grams of sugar. And I was shocked.
yeah, yeah,
One apple will have 18 grams of sugar, equivalent to 4 to 5 spoons of sugar.
right.
Oh, Krishna. That is. I
So
thought apple is healthy, organic
no, no,
apple.
it is. See, here's the thing. Fruit sugars. So understand one thing. Not every sugar works differently. There are about 20 different types of sugar: stevia, fructose, glucose, maltose, right? Dextrose. So all these different types of sugar are there. Not everything works the same way. Okay? Fruit sugars, they spike, but then they go down very fast.
I see.
So that is why they are not that bad.
Okay.
Okay. The problem with the grains is they linger longer in your belly. Oh, linger longer. Okay. I made it. So they stay longer. So the food stays very long in your body.
Mm,
Okay. Whereas fruits, they don't stay very long in your body.
I see.
So they go out very fast. So that's why the sugar spike, although it is there temporarily, it doesn't last very long. It's there, but it lasts, like I used a glucometer. It does spike, but then it rapidly comes down.
Got it.
So
Okay.
that's the thing with fruits.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's why every
Thank you.
sugar acts differently. So, something. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, okay. All right. Fructose is better. No, fructose directly affects your liver. Okay. Fructose is much more difficult to digest. It bypasses the body, but it affects your liver. So it doesn't spike the sugar as much, but it weakens your liver. So it affects one way or the other. So fructose, which come directly from fruits, is okay. But the high fructose corn syrup that is added, that is not good. Okay, that you
Yeah,
have to be
talking
careful.
about the fructose from the sugar, from the fruit.
Corn
Yeah,
syrup, yeah, yeah.
no,
From the
fruit.
fruits is fine.
Mm. I had another question, Prabhuji. So, if I'm eating cauliflower riced cauliflower, which is already cooked. So here the only option is raw cauliflower. There is no cooked cauliflower option here. So, um,
Just give me
are
the
there,
feedback. I'll update it. Yeah.
yeah, are
Mhm.
there nutrition lost in it? Probably, right?
In cooked
Changes.
cauliflower,
Yeah.
uh, not so much. Only if it's overcooked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because basically once you cook, the numbers vary. So the numbers that can be given is that of when it's uncooked. So when it's cooked, see, once you cook it, the body absorbs it better. But you have to cook it just enough so that body absorbs it better. We cannot overcook it. So once it becomes squishy, overcooked, it doesn't work. Once it becomes burnt, over fried, it doesn't have anything left. Hmm? That's how it works. Okay.
This is a good Excel spreadsheet, and
Yeah.
interesting. The other
Yeah.
Prabhuji was saying to see information right away.
Right. Right.
As,
I mean, it's not easy to use. There are many apps also which do this, but I tried to put one together. So I'll just update the database with the grains, and then you will see better because the grains are the ones that we eat the most. So that is something we need to be aware of. It's not that we stop it, but we need to be aware and control the portions. That's it. So now we see grains are needed, so you can't avoid grains. Mhm.
yeah. And
We
if
need
you
grains.
if you're making like dal with spinach and all that, so you have to actually measure all of that. And if you're making it, so ideally now
Yeah.
you're saying that you should make enough for one day, or uh, because if you have to measure it and you make 1 cup of dal, for example, uh,
Mm-hmm.
it'll last you at least for a couple of days.
Right.
But
Right.
then, yeah.
Yeah. Then you say what you consume. You see that is why this is not perfect, but it's
Mhm.
approximate.
Okay.
But at least you know.
Yeah, at least you have an idea.
So when you cook, see the problem that has happened is because all these athletes they take 1 cup of this, 1 cup of which is mostly ready-made stuff or raw foods. So then it becomes easy to calculate. So it's based on that. So you cannot come to exact calories. Okay. So at least you get an approximate. There will be some plus and minus. Okay. But you
Hmm.
come very close to where you got to be, then you are at least on track. Hmm? So you are at least on track, right?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
how it
Hmm.
works. Okay. All right. That was a wonderful session. I'm so happy because I'm now coming to the because it takes a lot of time to understand one by one. So all these weeks we were putting in all this stuff together. Uh, so now I believe it's beginning to like come together, right? So next week we'll do on activity. We'll put the diet, activity, lifestyle. So how you calculate, okay? Okay. So it'll be even more interesting. Okay. All right then.
So I have
So
one last question. Sorry, one last
yeah,
question. So you're saying that you should eat only the carbs that you are going to burn. Basically, that's what you said. If you
right.
so carbs from vegetables and fruits are okay. So most of the carbs should come from fruits and vegetables. But if you are going to eat bread and
Grains also we need, but portion control. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, yeah.
Portion control. You cannot eat too much. That's one thing. Oh, all
Okay.
right. So before we end, please book a meeting. I have made a chart for each one of you. We need to go over where we started. I need to also verify numbers that we started with. And also please send me your weight and fasting sugar this sometime this week. I definitely, I 100% need it. So book a meeting. I'll verify the sheet and the numbers because ultimately the study at the end, I need to have all the numbers. Okay. All these interactions are good. You got knowledge, but in the end, I need some numbers. So please weight and fasting sugar.
Prabhu,
I will need
where
that.
do we add that detail? Or should we just send it? I have a sheet for myself and my wife.
Right, right. If
Should
you
I share
can,
that sheet or?
yeah, I have, what you can do is you can upload it to Google and just share.
Okay, will
Mhm.
do. Thank you.
Yeah, the Google Sheet will be better. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone can create one. I have created one. It's just that I want to meet you and go through it just to make sure. Okay,
Yeah.
all the numbers. And then when we do the A1C next month, then all the numbers are done, all the questionnaires are done, and then we can go over to the Ayurvedic detox. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So Prabhuji, I started the magnesium and it's
Okay.
working very well. That
Very well.
whatever,
Okay.
yeah, what you good sleep, what
Good.
you, yeah, you prescribed that.
That's good for blood pressure as well.
Yeah. Thank you,
Blood
Prabhuji.
pressure is also lack of good sleep.
I
So,
bought the same one which you mentioned.
which you mentioned.
So
Okay,
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
So, yeah, very happy. Many whom I met last week, some of you had set up meetings and they did mention that magnesium has helped. I'm glad one suggestion worked so well. It
Yeah.
really works. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Wonderful. So please book the meeting and let's verify the and just keep an idea on the progress. And then this will lead into the next month where we will plan your Ayurvedic detox. Okay. All right. Thank you all so much.
Thank
So
you.
yeah.
Thank
we'll
you. Hare
catch up
Krishna.
Yeah,
Thank
we'll
you.
catch
Hare
up
Krishna,
next
Prabhu.
week.